mother should go through what I'm going through right now. No mother to lose their child to the violent way that I lost my child.
And I can't hear it, Omar.
Thank you.
Here in Memphis, officials are bracing for peaceful protests. That is what they are hoping for. The family of Tyre Nichols urging for calm, saying that she doesn't want anyone to tear up the city, and that is not what Tyre Nichols would have wanted. Officials say Tyre Nichols was pulled over for a traffic stop. They say for alleged reckless driving. Now, officials have said that there was no evidence of reckless driving.
The stop itself was very questionable. We have been unable to verify the reckless driving allegation.
But what happens later, two altercations. Authorities say the first one, pepper spray was deployed. The second one was more physical during his arrest. An ambulance was called. Tyre Nichols was taken to the hospital, and 3 days later, he died.
Earlier today, the grand jury returned indictments against 5 former Memphis Police Department officers regarding the death of Tyre Nichols.
The officers were fired after an internal Memphis Police Department investigation. Then they were charged by the DA. Those charges were announced yesterday. They include second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, and aggravated assault, among other crimes. Police here are bracing for protests expected today after those videos regarding what occurred to Tyre Nichols are expected to be released. His family urging people to stay calm in those protests, saying that they don't want the city to be torn down.
That's not what my son stood for. And if you guys are here for me and Tyre, then you will protest peacefully.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more.
You know, that situation that we just witnessed, and I looked at some other footage, and when you look at these officers, they had 20 years on the job of peace. And yes, obviously they was Negroes. And it was part of a special unit. And that's where the problem come in. Special unit. And they probably had been used to doing what they did to Tyre. And that's killed them. And no telling how many other people this pack of creatures have killed. Now, what I'm hearing as I travel, I hear people trying to make a difference and want to exaggerate things. I've said it before many times on some of these programs here at CAN TV. And although this, what you see today, is actually a podcast versus a speak on it, but I'm going to speak on it. Call it what you want to call it. And the bottom line is this. Because there is no respect in the colonies of America, Memphis is no different than Chicago. We in Chicago talk about it not being any equity as it relates to Negro police officers, and that you can be a non-citizen and be a police officer in the city of Chicago. And why this is important, and the reason I'm bringing it like this, is because I don't want to get stuck. And we get stuck when we think that just getting more black cops is going to make things different. No, it ain't. Because they will select the type of cop. Now, these cops have been on the job for 20 years. Now, remember, this is Tennessee. This is Memphis. Memphis ain't that big. Memphis had something to do with history. Martin Luther King then. Remember this. Tyre happened to be a Vic. a dude that loved his 4-year-old son. You understand? But he was beat to a pulp. And then they tried to cover it up because that's what they used to doing. Now, the problem is this. Until we as a group of people began to respect ourselves, we are really sitting ducks. Because they did not expect justice to come so swift. These police officers, these gang thugs, that's all they were. They were not police officers at the time that they say they had to chase him and tase him because he was driving erratically. And his mama say, no, that ain't Tyre. So the police fabricated this lie. And now people going around, including his family, and, I understand that, saying be calm. I haven't had somebody to ask me before I got to the studio, did I think anything was going to happen in Chicago? For what? Why would anybody tear up anything in Chicago or in Memphis? Because a gang of 5 other so-called thugs, calling themselves police, killed somebody. That happens all the time. So why are you going to burn up or tear up or get upset? Those police officers are no more than a street gang. It's just that they've had 20 years, and they have gotten away with it for 20 years. But now, this mayor, according to the mother, seemed to be fair. Now, one of the things that I want to just say, without going deep into dropping bombs. Like many of the commentators have stated, matter of fact, Crump said it, the lawyer, there is a lot of video, but they don't see nothing that justifies this encounter. So that was a pack of creatures roaming, hunting to kill. But they didn't take the time to shoot him. They beat him, stomped him. And his mama said when she got there, his nose was in the shape of an S. And that the lie they told her was a different type of reality when she got there. That the man, even had he lived, he would have been a vegetable. But yet these cops were not able to tell anyone what merited that type of violence. So when you say guns are the problem, you see, they didn't even use a bullet. They were just bullies. You know how these people select the few Negroes they're going to let be on the police department? They ain't just the regular brother. They're going to definitely have to demonstrate in the so-called psychological, like in Chicago, that they would be the worst slave master's flunky, that they would do more harm than the slave master himself, that they will kill you deader than somebody else. And that's what they demonstrated. So for me, this is a sad situation. But I'm not quite sure why people trying to act like they don't understand. I heard somebody say, well, they did him worse than the white folks did Rodney King. Dead is dead. You got to get over that. You got to get over the fact that because the police is white, Asian, Hispanic, non-citizen, or Negro, it don't matter. And as long as we allow it, and you say, well, what you gonna do? Well, you start before somebody get killed. If community policing don't work, that's where the real problem is. Now that they have had these creatures to tell you all that you don't need the police, and many of you all actually defunded police programs and did not replace them with a CAPS program or a CAPS-like program. But you're going to have to start having oversight, not this mess they finna do in Chicago, elect some folks that none of us know. Some folks they done picked, and they gonna run them. And because you don't know them, you're gonna do like you do the judges. You're gonna vote because you voting, and you're gonna elect people that are gonna be oppressors. That's what you're gonna do. Very few people will know the people that they are finna elect here in Chicago to be on these little just created police district council oversights or whatever. They got all these oversights, and you still got people being what? In Chicago, in Memphis, all over this country. I've seen at least 6 different videos very similar to what just happened here in Memphis. And tonight, they're hoping that people don't snap. And hopefully they won't. Now, I heard people to be so bold as even to suggest that maybe that's what they need to do. No, you don't need to do all that. Tearing up stuff ain't gonna bring dudes back. It really ain't. Look like the police gonna get hit with some serious charges. 2nd-degree murder, kidnap, and some other things. That's good. And they will be punished. Because I'm sure there will be people waiting to kill them when they get to the joint. And I think that's part of the solution. As these bad cops end up in the joint, until such time that they build an institution just for them, because protective custody will not be able to protect them for this type of savagery. It's just a simple matter. Now, you know we like to go from video to video, but we ain't going to do that tonight because the truth of the matter, this was supposed to be a live podcast, but because of this and that, Matthews got caught in traffic, and like we told him, ain't no need to try to get here for no 25 minutes because you mess around and get caught up. It ain't that serious. So I'm thankful that Amari allowed me the opportunity to use this time to look at something that's current. And what's current is what happened. But it will continue to happen until the consequence and the change of attitude between the Negro and everything else has taken place. Don't matter who it is that do you wrong. You got to send a message. There will be a consequence. Not burning up, not tearing down, not doing none of that. And maybe voting will matter. But at some point, it's too many Tyrees. But I hate to say it, y'all, ain't nothing different tonight and on January the 10th when this happened. In this case, than anywhere else. They killed many other people. And all over America right now, black cops is killing black people. Until next week, Alafia, peace, and good health.